The following program, The Lightning Strike, is sponsored by Mohammed Faheem, and to the extent applicable, their guests. The views and opinions expressed therein do not necessarily reflect those of NewsWeb Radio Company or its management.
Get ready to be jolted out of the ordinary and into a world where conversations are charged with intensity and facts. The Lightning Strike Talk Radio with your host, Mohammed Faheem, broadcasting live from the heart of the city on Chicago's Progressive Talk Radio, WCPT 820 AM. Welcome to a radio show that charges through the airwaves with an electricity like no other. Here's your host, Mohammed Faheem.
Good morning, Houston, and good morning, Houston. Yeah, sure. Good morning, Chicago. It's old habits die hard, folks. I used to do radio in Houston for a long time, and that automatically kicked in when I sit on this seat over here. Good morning, Chicago. Not so good morning for a lot of people out there. There's so many things happening in the world, and we are going to be taking a look at some things that are happening local over here, and then we'll come back with what is happening around the world and get some feedback and some responses from you, our listeners. You're listening to The Lightning Strike. I'm your host, Mohammed Faheem. In the studio with me again today, Tyree Pippins, our intern. Tyree is sitting in. Good morning, Tyree.
Good morning, sir.
And if you have any questions, if you have any suggestions, please feel free to call in. The number to call in is 773-763-9278 or 763-WCPT. We got a full schedule for the day today, folks. There's things happening locally that we're going to be throwing some light on, especially in our Chicago neighborhood of Naperville, where there's been an instance of hate, and we want to see that is addressed and brought out so that people can learn to live in peace. And we have got a couple of guests that would be chiming in on that topic. And let's go to the phone calls, and we're going to start off with our Person of the Week this morning. And Person of the Week is Michael Campbell, and our segment producer for our Person of the Week is Sheila White. And I will be having them come on the air in just a couple of seconds. Meanwhile, again, this is your show. This is not my show or Tyree's show or anyone else's show. Dylan is doing our boards today as usual. It's not even Dylan's show. It's going to be for all of us. And the number to call in, 773-763-9278. And let's see if we can bring Michael up. Dylan, Michael, good morning. Welcome to the Lightning Strike.
Good morning. Thank you so very much. I appreciate it.
Absolutely, Michael. So you want to go ahead and tell us a little bit about who you are, and I think I'm waiting for Sheila to chime in. Sheila, good morning.
I'm here. Good morning.
Good morning, Sheila. So go ahead. Michael is your guest. Take it up with him, and then we'll go down to our first segment of the day around 9:15. Go ahead, Sheila.
Hey, I want to introduce to you Mr. Michael Campbell. He is a dreamer. He's the person that helps you to be able to train your dreams. He's a life optimization coach, and he helps businesses and individuals to develop a smarter vision. And so, Michael, I want you to just tell a little bit more about yourself, because you're doing a phenomenal work, not only in the city of Chicago, but also globally.
Yes, well, thank you so very much, Sheila. This is really appreciated. We have a tremendous opportunity in life to train our dreams. You know, a lot of times we dream and then nothing happens, right? We just sit back and we enjoy the dream, but nothing really happens at all. And so there's really a set process, and it's really simple. You want to have a complete design for for what you want in your life. Then you have to train your dream to actually work for you. And that's really where the power is, because we can do so many things in life, and we can struggle and push hard. But rather than pushing hard, we can actually optimize the future for us so that it happens organically. It happens naturally, without the feeling of stress and without distractions. And so then we activate our dream. So it's design, train, activate your dream. And by activating it, we actually connect our life to the dream. so that we don't have to wait for 10 years, 15 years, 20 years to get started. We can actually activate in small steps so that we can actually get started right away. And this is what we actually do. So people have the dreams in them. Mm-hmm. But it's how can we actually get the dream into reality?
Hey, Michael, I got a question for you over here. A lot of people want to go the ultimate route and be a perfectionist in everything that they do, right? Do you really have to be a perfectionist, or is being good enough?
Well, I'll tell you what. You don't even have to be good. Just get started.
See, that's what happened with us on the radio show over here when we decided to do the lightning strike. Sheila and I were talking, right, Sheila? And well, let's get the damn thing started. Okay. We wanted to. We wanted to get the train started and then lay down the tracks as we went.
Yeah, man, let me tell you. And that's a human struggle. It's a human struggle, right? So just that you have this fear, this anxiety, this concern about doing it right and doing it well. If you go back into the story of just about any business, anybody who's out there excelling in the limelight, a celebrity, if you will, they don't show the time when they were struggling and learning and failing. But every single failure is just a stepping stone to your success if you continue. So get started. That's the name of the game.
Hey, Michael, when I got married for the first time, that's what I thought. No, man, I've been married for 40 years now, so it's been only one and done for me. Okay.
It's really interesting, Mohammed, because Michael trained so many people. A lot of people are retired and they're thinking, what should I do now? They have dreams, they have hopes, they have visions, and they don't know how to restart. And Michael is a person that can help you, no matter what age you are, to be able to get going. He kind of gets the engine started and helps you to get into a direction that you should go to be able to fulfill your dreams. So he helps you to refire those dreams and desires and passions, and it's really, really exciting to know him as a person of the week and an organization. He helps you to have a smarter vision.
Okay, Michael, so can you share with us a quick story about somebody that really took your advice and, turned their life around?
Well, absolutely. So we focus a lot on finding purpose in life. All right. So many people are doing things. They're working. They're taking care of their families. But there's this nagging, what is the meaning of life? And what should I be doing to get the benefit of that meaning in life and for my life? Mm-hmm. And I can think of one lady, I'll just call her YL for now.
Okay.
She's a school teacher. And it's very interesting that she wanted something significant for her life. Okay. She's already doing something for her job that's very noble, teaching kids in school. But she wanted more for her life. And she didn't figure out exactly how to get there. She didn't figure out how to design her life and to train her mind. And this lady followed some very key principles of starting out with what are the important values that her life should be designed by. What is it that she really wanted to impact the world with? And she put these things on paper, Mohammed. Okay. She outlined them. And then she took on an identity that says, I am this person who excels at helping people in communities around the world. Within a space of 3 months, when the summertime came around and school was out, she took a trip down to South America, and then she took another trip down to the Dominican Republic, where she was actually helping to feed and provide chickens for the Haitians that are living in Santo Domingo in poverty. She got chickens so they could grow the chickens, get eggs, and sell chickens so they could have a sustainable living. And do you understand how fulfilled she was by actually doing the thing that brought meaning into her life?
Oh, man, that's so good to hear, folks. Our person of the week and organization of the week this morning, this Sunday, is Michael Campbell. And Michael, thank you so much for joining the Lightning Strike. Please do keep in touch. And how do people get in touch with you, Michael?
Well, the best way is for them to jot this number down, and they send us a text message. It's 844-530-1291, 844-530-1291, and just send a text message with 777. And that will give them the instructions on how to call us and how to connect with us and how to also get their transformation readiness index number.
Okay, wonderful, Michael. So if they put in 666, they go to the other guy?
They go to whatever that other guy is, yeah.
Okay.
Got that one.
Okay. On that note, folks, you are tuned into the Lightning Strike. It's about 9:16. We're going to take a quick break. And when we come back on the other side of the break, I'm going to have Mr. Rasheed Ahmed from IAMC as a guest on the show, along with Ahmed Rehab and Pushkar Sharma calling in from Hindus for Humanity. There's going to be a very important topic that we are going to be talking about today, about an incident of hate in our neighborhood. What can we do about it? What are the lessons learned? And where can we go on from there to have this country, which was built on, liberty and justice for all? With that, let's take a quick break. We'll be back after this.
Are you a business looking for the right talent or a job seeker searching for your dream career? Look no further than the Center for Strategic Solutions, your workforce solutions experts. Our experienced team at the Center for Strategic Solutions is dedicated to connecting employers with top-tier talent and helping job seekers find opportunities that truly align with their goals.
You're hired.
We're more than just consultants. We're your partners in success. Ready to take your workforce to the next level or land that ideal job? Contact the Center for Strategic Solutions today at 1-847-306-9274 or visit us online at www.cfss.us. The Center for Strategic Solutions, your bridge to a brighter future in the Windy City. The number to call is 847-306-9274 or send us an email at info@cfss.us. That is info@cfss.us.
Are you tired of high energy bills and concerned about the environment? It's time to embrace solar power. There's no one better to guide you than Ken DeLuke. Ken DeLuke, your trusted solar energy consultant, is your key to a brighter, greener future. With years of experience, Ken knows the ins and outs of solar power like no one else. Ken DeLuke will help you save big on your energy bills while reducing your carbon footprint. Ready to make the switch? Contact Ken DeLuke today at 312-617-8979 or shoot him an email at kj@midwestsolutions.info. That's KJAY@midwestsolutions.info. Ken DeLuke, solar energy consultant, empowering you with clean, sustainable energy solutions. Don't wait. Make the call today. 312-617-8979.
Welcome back to the Lightning Strike with Mohammed Faheem.
So good morning, folks, and welcome back to the Lightning Strike. I'm your host, Mohammed Faheem. We're going to be talking with a couple of very important people, in fact, three of them, and I've got Rasheed Ahmed from IAMC on the line. And if you could please go ahead and introduce yourself, and we'll take on the rest of the guests and see what we're going to be talking about on today's topic.
Good morning to all the listeners. Thank you, Fine, for inviting me to your wonderful show. I wanted to just make a couple of remarks. Let me know when you have any introduction about this incident, or you want me to go ahead and...
Okay, let's bring in the other guests, and then we'll get into what the incident is about that we want to talk about today. Ahmed, you are on the air with the Lightning Strike. Good morning.
Good morning. This is Ahmed Rehab with CAIR Chicago, Council on American Islamic Relations in Chicago. It's a civil rights organization that works to fight bigotry, promote tolerance, and defend civil rights in the United States, and specifically here in Chicago.
Okay, so Mr. Rasheed Ahmed, is Pushkar Sharma also joining us? I don't see him on the line over here. And Pushkar, if you are listening to us, if you could please go ahead and introduce yourself.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Thank you, sir. My name is Pushkar Sharma. I'm here in Chicago. I'm a member of Hindus for Human Rights, and I'm the founder and executive director of SACRED, South Asian American Coalition to Renew Democracy.
Wonderful. Thank you all three for joining us. Folks, the situation is that in our neighborhood of Naperville, which is a suburb of Chicago, there was an incident recently of a high school student burning a copy of the Quran, the Muslims' holy book, and posting a video of it online. There has been a lot of concern about this situation as to how our youth all the way over here in this country are being radicalized regardless of what religion that they are following, and what can be done about it. There's been a lot of feedback from our listeners, from the community in general. There has been some people trying to say that, oh, no, how do you know it was the Quran that was being burnt? It was a minor doing it, and let the authorities handle it. Ahmed, can you please throw some light on that, please? Ahmed Rehab.
Yes. So this allegedly happened in July, off session from the school and not on school grounds. It happened in the field. It was filmed by a friend, and then it was posted to social media. And this happened. The posting happened recently in late September, if not October, and that's when the reactions started. At first, we were hearing that the student was apologetic, and then later claims that it was a different book, or a book that was meant to look like the Quran but wasn't the Quran. And all that is secondary to me. The perception given and intended is the burning of the Quran, and that's an act that has happened around the world, unfortunately, in recent times, as a symbolic attack on the Muslim community by burning their most sacred text. It's an Islamophobic attack, and it's a hate incident. Its victims are not direct. No one is physically hurt by this, but it is an emotional attack, and it's a mental sort of attack on the well-being of our community. For example, in the MSA, in the local Muslim Student Association, there's a lot of hurt. There's a lot of hurt in the community. It's not unlike when somebody paints a swastika on a synagogue or something like that. So there's physical victims to it, but the message that is sent is a hateful message, and it's a troubling and hurtful message. And there has been, since that time, efforts to reach out to the family, and there's ongoing conversations with the family, both students that were involved, the alleged burner and the alleged filmer of the burning, and their families, along with ICM, the Islamic Center of Naperville, CIOGC, the Council of Islamic Organizations of Greater Chicago, and CAIR Chicago, as well as with the Imam of ICM. These are ongoing as we speak. What we are trying to do is to garner an admission from the students and an apology. We're not interested, given their age, in a punitive path forward, but rather a redemptive path where there can be regret and a genuine expression of apology, because this is something that is hurtful and horrible, and then moving forward in a positive way, having the students be involved beyond the apologies in some kind of community service where they can get to know the community more, build trust, and then move forward in a positive manner. That is where we are at and where we're hoping to go. We're not interested in the he said, she said, or in changing stories, or in non-credible, denials. We've seen the evidence. We believe this happened the way it was stated. There was communication to the principal by the students that this happened, that they bought this book from a discount store and did what they did. So this is where we're at. But I want to, before I turn it back to you, I want to emphasize that, for me, this isn't just about this particular incident and kind of harping on it ad nauseum. It's about the larger context of what we're seeing from aspects of the Hindu community, both here and in India. And I'm talking about the Hindutva type mentality and ideology, which is translated roughly into Hinduism. But really what it is it's a fascist ideology that is supremacist, that pits Hindus against others in India, where they claim that this is the country is built on uniquely a Hindu identity, and this, of course, creates fascist undertones and anti-Islamic and anti-Christian undertones. And the RSS, which is a paramilitary and volunteer group that is very strong in pushing this ideology, is very much involved with the current government, Modi and others. And there's been some horrendous results and consequences. I want to emphasize, lastly, that when we talk about this particular group, we're not talking about all Hindus. As a matter of fact, there are so many Hindus, including Hindus for Human Rights, for example, who are, I would consider, some of the most, human rights-oriented, fair-minded human beings out there that I've dealt with. It's a group that I consider very highly in what it does in terms of peace and justice in the United States and around the world. So.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Ahmed. And you do know that I grew up in India. And I have some of my best friends are Hindus from India. Okay, we grew up in a pluralistic society, and absolutely, there's a lot of good friends that I have. Surprisingly enough, though, I mean, for this particular segment today, I try to reach out to as many Hindu friends over here as possible, and there seems to be some kind of a fear psychosis, to put it mildly. None of them really wanted to come on the air and talk about this incident. That kind of surprised me. And on that note, Pushkar, you want to please chime in and let people know which organizations you are. You said you are with Hindus for Human Rights and Sacred. What is your take on this?
Thank you so much for the opportunity to speak today. I just want to start off by saying that there's no question here. The individual involved in this, in my opinion, of this state of being is not a person taking an act of faith that's representative of any faith, right? There is no place in Illinois for destructive, violent, extremist, and provocative actions like this. And I want to emphasize that here, clearly to the listeners today, Hinduism emphasizes central values, including Shanti, peace, Nyaya, justice, Satya, truth, nonviolence, Ahimsa, and Lok Sangraha, the universal common good, where there is peace among all people. So again, just to emphasize, in the individual involved here, I do not consider this a person acting on behalf of any faith, and that this is definitely not an act of the Hindu faith. At the same time, I want to emphasize, as was described earlier, this should all be seen within the context of development in India. It's one of the clearest, most accessible ways to frame this is your viewers will be and listeners will be most familiar with Mohammed Gandhi. Many of them may be familiar that he was assassinated, and we should be clear that he was assassinated by a former member of the organization, the Rashtriya Swayamsevak Sangh, that was called the RSS. The RSS can be roughly equated with the KKK in the U.S. context. Wow. And we should say that Gandhi's assassin today is being venerated. Within India, there are statues being built to idolize the assassin. There's a consideration in government to rename a city in his honor. And I should say that your readers and your viewers, your followers, can actually read about this in the New York Times. It's covered, in mainstream media in the U.S. today. It's not unknown to the American context.
Okay, Pushkar, just to push back a little bit on that, the local version of the RSS in America is the HSS, right? The Hindu Swayamsevak Sangh. And they are positioning themselves as a 501c3 charity, which is doing all kinds of charitable works in the country. And they are putting up this, yoga camps and all of those good things. What do you say to that?
I mean, that's absolutely true. I mean, we know this is well documented on even the RSS's website and publicly by RSS leaders over generations that they want to take that ideology, the RSS ideology, take it global. It is global. It is very deeply embedded in the U.S., particularly in areas with large Salvation American community. I wouldn't say that necessarily every member of the the HSS may know some of this context, but you're absolutely right. There's undoubtedly a link, a very clear link, and I encourage any colleagues, friends involved to study this, to learn the history, and reject this history, because as we've described, this is a violent, Islamophobic, and at its core anti-Semitic ideology that was really inspired by Hitler and Nazism in the 1930s. And there's quotes, from the founding fathers of the RSS that looked up to Hitler's Germany and said, it described Hitler's Germany as a success. It said, they described it as wanting to kind of copy and paste that approach and treat Muslims in India in the same way as Hitler treated Jews in Germany.
Now, on that note, let me bring in Rasheed Ahmed with IAMC. So your views and your thoughts on what's happening, especially with these organizations in India, not just against the Muslims, but against the other communities like the Dalits and the Christians. And I was told that recently there was about 200 plus churches that were burnt in the northeast of India, that's in Manipur, because people are taking this ideology to that extent over there now, and they don't want anyone except, quote unquote, their type of people to exist in India. Mr. Ahmed, what do you have to say on that?
Mr. Faheem, I would come to that, but let me make few comments on the issue we are discussing today.
Okay, please go ahead.
That is both sensitive and deeply concerning. The distressing video that is circulating on social media that depicts the burning of a copy of Quran by minors. Let me be clear here. I can't emphasize enough that we cannot and should not place the entire blame on these minors that reports mention. The underlying question that disturbs many of us is, where did this deep-seated hate come from? It is reasonable to rule out that such sentiments are being instilled in grade schools. I don't think this is being taught in the school he is attending. That leaves us wondering if these children have been influenced at home through extracurricular activities, trips abroad, or exposure to extremist ideology. It's particularly alarming to witness such acts in places like Naperville, a village known for its multicultural character. The famous adage says it takes a village to raise a child. And this incident compels me to introspect on the nature of the Naperville village in which children are growing up. The recent opposition to construction of a mosque and now this disturbing act raises serious concerns about the direction of Naperville community is heading. The onus is on all of us to come together, understand the root causes, and work towards the more harmonious future. It's not about the kid. It's about the community that kid is growing up. It takes a village. And I am really wondering what's happening in Naperville. From Naperville councilmen to area congressmen and community organizations have expressed concern about the desecration of this holy book. What is perplexing is the silence of the mayor of the Naperville where this unfortunate act happened. If anybody, the mayor must have the facts. If he is silent, why is he silent? I think he should come out and let us know what exactly happened, who did it, and how to move forward from this, and how to prevent future incidents like this. Today, it was Quran burning. If we keep silent, and if the same hate ideology spreads more or gets deeper, what is next? I think I know some friends in Naperville, they are really concerned about it. And the more, they're not only concerned about this incident, but they are concerned about what is next. So I really want, if anybody listening here from the mayor office, Naperville's mayor's office, to speak up. And also, many of our community organizations have not spoken up on yet. I don't know if they understand. Maybe they don't understand the gravity of it. If they don't understand, there are organizations like CAIR, IAMC, and others. We sit down with us. We can explain them what really this may be heading towards. So, Faheem, I know you asked me a different question, but I wanted to explain.
Well, no, thank you. I mean, I personally reached out to the mayor's office and left a message for the mayor about 4 days back now. And I did not hear back anything at all from the mayor's office of Naperville. And I wanted to see if he had anything to say, like you're saying, but so far no response. And this is not going to be just a one-off discussion on one Sunday. If this thing needs to be discussed later on also, definitely this is a big platform that we have with WCPT. It is, thousands of people just listening in. Folks, if you have any questions at all about this topic, any questions, comments, feel free to call in. Please let the screener know that what you'll be wanting to comment on. 773-763-9278. We'll take a quick break and we'll be right back after these gentlemen. Please stay on with us through the break. And Ahmed Rehab, I also want to get a little, note from you on what is happening majorly in the conflict that is happening in the Middle East right now. That was breaking news this morning. So if you could please hang on. Thank you.
Planning to lay off employees is never easy. Discover the Center for Strategic Solutions, your trusted partner in outplacement services. Are you a company in transition or an individual seeking a new opportunity? Our Chicago-based team specializes in providing personal outplacement services to employees. At the Center for Strategic Solutions, we're not just consultants, we're dedicated to your success. Ready to navigate change with confidence? Contact the Center for Strategic Solutions today at 847-306-9274. Visit us online at www.cfss.us or email info@cfss.us. The Center for Strategic Solutions, empowering employers and job seekers for success in the heart of Chicago.
Are you tired of high energy bills and concerned about the environment? It's time to embrace solar power. There's no one better to guide you than Ken DeLuke. Ken DeLuke, your trusted solar energy consultant, is your key to a brighter, greener future. With years of experience, Ken knows the ins and outs of solar power like no one else. Ken DeLuke will help you save big on your energy bills while reducing your carbon footprint. Ready to make the switch? Contact Ken DeLuke today at 312-617-8979 or shoot him an email at kj@midwestsolutions.info. That's KJAY@midwestsolutions.info. Ken DeLuke, solar energy consultant, empowering you with clean, sustainable energy solutions. Don't wait. Make the call today. 312-617-8979.
Welcome back to the Lightning Strike with Mohammed Faheem.
Good morning, folks, and welcome back to the Lightning Strike. Sunday morning, not so good in other parts of the world today. There's lots of things happening. We actually wanted to talk today about the migrant crisis that's happening and what happened with the Joliet mayor refusing to take the money that the governor was offering. So many things that we could have discussed about today, but this is a developing story right in our neighborhood with this incident of hate happening in Naperville. And so, Pushkar, coming back to what we were discussing about, the typical Hindu ideology is for everyone to live in peace together, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Just to emphasize again, peace, justice, truth, and nonviolence.
Okay, and the RSS that we keep on referring to is Rashtriya Swayam Sevak Sangh, and if my understanding of Hindi and Sanskrit is correct, Rashtriya is national, Swayam is self, and Sevak is self-serving basically, so it's not for the community or the nation at large, it is self-serving. Is that a correct understanding of the word Swayam Sevak?
I mean, not just maybe for the listeners to be very clear here. This is a sect that has been in power and leading India since 2014. So it's really, though it's not officially a political party, it has a political party, and that political party has been leading the country for 10 years now. And we should say that in the last 10 years, our colleague Rasheed here can speak in a much more detailed way than I can, but we have noticed and seen a dramatic change in the character of the country. And we've seen, for example, the government in India not prosecuting calls for mass genocide against specifically Muslim communities, Muslim Indians. We've also seen, the government quelling political dissent, suspending fundamental rights of protesters, including within the Sikh community, open targeting of Christian churches and communities we've talked about earlier, and also just this week, an attack on the press freedom, which continues to be a major concern in the situation in India. But if you'll allow me to focus, that is the situation in India, but I think maybe the listeners will be very interested to learn how this ideology is linked to the U.S. and specifically here in Illinois, because this is a growing threat in our own state of Illinois, in our own city in Chicagoland area. Mm-hmm. Chicago, of course, has the second largest Indian American community in the country. But since the mid, like 2015, 2016, an organization called that's based in Illinois, in the western suburbs, called the Republican Hindu Coalition, actually named, an infamous indicted white supremacist, Steve Bannon, as an honorary chairman in 2019. So Steve Bannon was brought to Illinois, was given a platform by this organization called Republican Hindu Coalition, and really has it has been what I would describe as a reemergence of a white supremacist and Hindu supremacist connection in our own state here. In 2022, we saw the Illinois General Assembly pass legislation that established a, quote, Illinois Indian American Advisory Council. Mm-hmm. But that, quote, Indian American Advisory Council was incredibly flawed, discriminatory against specifically Muslim communities, was very, discriminatory against Nepali American, Bhutanese American, and Sri Lankan American communities, with really coarse language that was codifying a Hindu supremacist vision of our own community. I'm proud to say that many of us came together within the community to push back, and in February of this year, Governor Pushkar signed off on renewed legislation that threw out all of the discriminatory language and established Illinois' South Asian American Advisory Council.
Oh boy! So yeah, there's lots of firepower in the group over there, especially a lot of our local politicians who are being funded by them have refused to come up and speak up against any of these groups, if my understanding is correct. And on that note, Rasheed Ahmed, what do you think is happening? Why is this thing getting all the way exported from India to our shores over here?
As you know, the immigration is the lifeblood for United States, both for its human resources as well as many other resources. And this migration from India also happened significantly after 1960s, the Immigration Act. It increased rapidly and moved forward. Now, 2023, there are about 4 million Indian Americans here.
Okay.
Not all of them do. It comes from a diverse religious background. The estimates are about perhaps 2.5 million of them are Hindus. Rest of them are either Muslims, Sikhs, Dalits, or other faiths. And these Indian Americans who are here, especially from the Hindu background, they are just like any other. They were just like any other Hindu until the recent phenomena of Modi becoming Prime Minister 2014 and then 2019 re-election, there is a transformation in a large segment of Hindu community, and they may or may not subscribe to the xenophobic fascist ideology of RSS, but they certainly are one way or other way appreciate or contribute or part of the network of this HSS, Hindu, the subsidiary of RSS, according to their own website. And at the end of the day, in lieu of culture, in lieu of language, and many other aspects, the components of this ideology in India, of Hindutva ideology that believe that India belongs only to those whose fatherland and holy land is India. That leaves out Muslims, Christians, and Jews, that they cannot be India. They cannot be an Indian in this rubric of ideology, and that coming back here. So it is within that framework. If the kids are growing up, then they don't see their old friends from India, if they happen to be Muslims or Christians or Jews, as Indians. Mm-hmm. And then if the talk is going on about Muslims are this, Muslims are that, Christians are that, then that at some point some kids are impressionable. So I'm wondering if, again, coming back to the local issue here, the issue, Faheem, I know I am coming back to the local issue because the problem now is local, in our backyards, in our neighborhoods, in our cities. The more we keep talking about India, the people go to India and never come back. But let's talk more about the problem right here in our neighborhood.
Mm-hmm.
So,
can I chime in on that part? Because
Go ahead, please, Ahmed.
We need
what we're seeing now.
We need to find out the root cause of this.
I think Ahmed Rehab wants to comment on it. Please go ahead.
Sure. Go ahead.
So, for example, with the Islamic Center of Naperville, right? About a couple of years ago, there was a project to build another branch of the mosque in Naperville, and there was huge opposition in Naperville from local community members. Many of them were of this persuasion, and it wasn't just that local community. It was assisted by Hindutva type bots and others from outside of the community. It was a concentrated campaign that was anti-mosque. And as a matter of fact, the student who allegedly burned a copy of the Quran had left a couple of anti-mosque comments on the website, along with the many others who did. And that was an ugly chapter in Naperville's history, this sort of opposition that was unfounded and rooted in Islamophobic tropes. And so there are consequences like this that disturb the peace of our communities here, as Rasheed was saying. And as Pushkar mentioned, this is something that's been around for a very long time, this ideology. I think what's different, and in many communities, in many religions, in many countries, you do unfortunately have strains of supremacy and extremism. This isn't unique to the Hindu or Indian community. But what is unique now is how dominant it is, how much it has grown, and how much it has bled into communities across the world, including in the United States and right here in our backyard. And that is the issue that I think our local politicians and our intellectuals need to sort of become very wary and aware of. So far, it has flew under the radar for too many people. Modi, runs around the world and is normalized. I understand, of course, he is the representative of the world's largest democracy, but it should be very concerning that the world's largest democracy is falling back into this nationalist and supremacist and fascist type ideologies in ways that are hurting local communities, minority communities in India. And it's not just Muslims, it's also Christians and others, but Muslims obviously are the largest by far minority in India, but also how it seeps into communities around the world, including here. As Rasheed mentioned, the local connection is very important. And this isn't to demonize anyone. This is to bring us all back to a place of community collaboration, tolerance for each other, peace and prosperity. And right now, this RSS Hindutva type ideology is a threat to all of that, and that's what we need to understand.
Well, I totally agree with what you guys are saying, folks. In all fairness, I tried to reach out to the Hindu American Foundation to see if they would like to come in and say a few words as to what their thoughts on this are. Never heard back anything from any of the other groups that I tried to reach out the last 2 days now. I've been trying to see if I could get as diverse a group as possible to talk about this issue. And Ahmed, well, thank you. Thank you so much, Pushkar, for being at least one organization that agreed to come and represent the Hindu point of view also. See, in this country, when we pledge allegiance to the flag, we say we pledge allegiance to the flag and for the republic for which it stands, one nation, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. So if we try to bring in these kind of foreign ideologies in here and try to divide the communities that we are living in, not in my backyard, my friends, not in my backyard. We need to remember those famous words. On that note, we have about 9:51. If you need to call in, folks, it's 773-763 9278. We're not going to be taking any more commercial breaks, Dylan. Today we don't have time. There's so much to discuss. Ahmed Rehab, thank you for staying on. And I would like to end this particular segment at this point and pivot over to Ahmed. He's just come back from a trip, and let's talk about what is happening on the international stage. And we'll take like a quick 1 second break so I can at least, wet my beak over here with some water. I've been speaking too long already. Folks, you're tuned in to the Lightning Strike on WCPT 820 AM on Chicago's Progressive Talk radio station. We'll take a quick break. I promise no breaks, but no, 1 second break if you could, please.
Welcome back to the Lightning Strike with Mohammed Faheem.
And on that note, I want to thank Rasheed Ahmed and Pushkar Sharma for joining us to discuss the incident in Naperville. And folks, feel free to call in 773-763-9278. You can also go to our website later for the Lightning Strike, which is TLS for the Lightning Strike Chicago.com. Send us a message through there. Ahmed Rehab, let's switch gears now. What's happening?
Thank you.
What's happening in Middle East now? I've been listening to NPR coming in. I've been listening to the A. Politini show that goes before our show over here. A lot of people discussing and blame being thrown all around on everybody. What's your take on that?
I'll be happy to answer that, but just very quickly, you mentioned the Hindu American Foundation, and they didn't come on your show. They did issue a statement, and their statement was very problematic. It had three elements to it. It blamed the victim, it tried to whitewash the perpetrator, and it tried to recontextualize the whole problem. It accused CAIR's statement of attacking all Hindus. That's not true. We pinpointed the RSS Hindutva ideology, not all Hindus. It seems to be their claim that all Hindus are RSS Hindutva in suggesting that by criticizing one, we're criticizing the other. We refuse and deny that claim. This is not true. They do not represent all Hindus. Secondly, they accused us of, this typical accusation of, oh, you're saying that Hindus have dual loyalty. No, we're not saying that. We're saying that the RSS Hindutva effect in the United States is problematic. It seems to be their claim that if you are affiliated with the RSS Hindutva, then you have dual loyalty. If that's the case, then the HAF, the Hindu American Foundation, should send out a communique to all Hindus here in the United States not to affiliate with this group so as not to have dual loyalties, because that seems to be their claim. This amounts to dual loyalty. That was not our claim. And lastly, they accused us of putting the family in danger. We did not name the boy. We chose not to do that, even though we could have. It's not illegal for us to do so. But that's our policy is not to name minors. We did not post his picture. it was the boy who named himself and posted, or had the video posted. So that's on them and not on CAIR. We did not post or name any person or the picture. So this is all, smoke and mirrors, and it's very problematic. And clearly they have their own affiliation with this problematic ideology.
Well,
so
like
I'll
I
leave
said, we did send out an invitation, and we did not hear back anything. Okay, we got about 3 minutes before we wrap up the show. So, we'd love to have you back in the next couple of weeks to discuss more about the international situations. But go ahead, if you could just give us a quick recap on what happened.
Briefly, this is a very significant conflagration of the current conflict in the Middle East between Palestinians and Israel. Basically, what we're seeing here is the Gazans, through their current government, the Hamas organization, have launched an attack on Israel, a military attack targeting military installations as well as other infrastructure. And it's the most significant that's ever happened. The last time something of this caliber occurred was probably in 1976 in the Egypt-Israel war. This took Israel by surprise and sort of changed the mechanics on the ground in terms of, Hamas and Gaza lashing back. There has been, of course, a lot of raids on Gaza. There has been a siege on Gaza. Gaza is described as the largest open-air prison in the world. Life in Gaza is unbearable, if not unlivable. A lot of people who are now tuning in are seeing this as a start of the conflict. This is another chapter in the existing conflict. Those who are expressing concern for peace now, but not yesterday or last week or last year, when Palestinians are being raided and killed, in my opinion, have selective morality. We all shed tears for every innocent life lost, Jewish, Muslim, Christian, Palestinian, Israeli. Humans are humans. That's not in question. What is in question is the selective morality, the double standards. Everybody understands when Ukraine defends itself against a larger bully. People seem to not understand when Palestinians defend themselves against a larger bully. We're seeing here somebody scratching the face of a bully, but we're not seeing the choking of the much larger bully at the neck of the smaller person, in this case the Palestinians. And the whole full picture needs to be seen. There's only one side occupying, one side being occupied, one side displacing, one side being displaced, one side besieging, one side being besieged. There's no parity in the conflict. There's a bully and there's a victim of the bully. And while there is now sort of a scuffle between the two, I think that larger context should not be missed. The United States continues to give billions of dollars, including yesterday, I believe, $8 billion given to Israel. Meanwhile, the Gazans are suffocating with a full siege on their very small territory, in which children have little access to the medical aid they need. Pencils are not given because there's lead in the pencils, and schools suffer from lack of supplies, et cetera, et cetera. You're going to see a lot of comments that demonize the Palestinians, but I think it seems to be the case here in the United States and in the West that our understanding is that only white groups, whether Ukrainians or others, contemporaneously or historically have a right to defend themselves. But when brown groups or black groups do it, it's always just terrorism. It's inherently violent. That's just who they are. They are essentialized into lesser human beings. They're not given the same rights and the same understanding. Here in the United States, the Americans rose against the British when there was oppression, and it's something that we celebrate.
Ahmed, on that note, I can hear my music coming on for the end of the show. We will continue the conversation, folks. You're tuned into the Lightning Strike. Please tune in every Sunday morning, 9 a.m. on WCPT 820. This is Mohammed Faheem signing off for the day. And thank you again for all our guests, Ahmed Rehab, Pushkar Sharma, Rasheed Ahmed for joining us, and Michael Campbell was our person of the week today. Signing off. Thank you very much. You all have a nice week, and we'll see you next Sunday, 9 a.m. on WCPT.